Hi, I would like to take you through a few important steps of LinkedIn tool today. And the reason why I want to do that is because this is getting very, very important by the day for HR practitioners, but also for employees in general. So I would like to use my own profile as a template so that you would understand um, things easily, and I can freely use my own profile rather than using anybody else's profile. So I would begin with talking about the impact of AI. AI is here, and its impact is very, very palpable here because it is already starting to give us suggestions about the profile. It is trying to bounce our profile, as in, sorry, it's trying to boost our profile by suggesting some steps. So we can start using AI on one hand, and on the other hand, there are some subtle aspects in this LinkedIn, in that it is not a simple tool that we use just as we use Facebook or Instagram or any other tool. This happens to be a particularly designed tool in order to facilitate job seekers as well as good opportunities. So, we as job seekers might look for good opportunities on the tool, but there are also companies with corporate recruiters who are trying to find talent. So, in both aspects, this tool has to serve the best interests of both sides. So, with that in mind, if you look at the profile, um, there are a lot of aspects here which are very interestingly designed, in that if you observe that your profile starts with a picture and a backdrop picture, then you have the headline which tells essentially what you are to the world. Then you have a few hashtags with which you can indicate what are the few topics that you're really interested in or you're focused on. Uh, and then you have in detail, if you are open to work, you can secretly communicate that just to the recruiters without letting the whole world know, and I am open to work. I'm always seeking new opportunities and exploring the landscape. So here you can also mention which topics you're interested in general with the hashtag. What this does is it will tune your feed. So in the back end, imagine there are lakhs and millions of posts, and there can't be a human agent monitoring all these posts. So all these millions of posts are being monitored by the AI engines. So artificial intelligence is the main engine that is driving LinkedIn, and machine learning happens to be a sub part of it, which is a subset of artificial intelligence. And machine learning, as the name suggests, is continually learning your preferences, your likes and dislikes, and based on that, it is trying to get your optimal feed, as in the posts that you receive and observe. Now, moving on, you have quite a lot of tools here. One is a gallery kind of a tool where you can quickly put up all your certificates and try to show off all your achievements. And if you are an artist, you can actually put your artwork here so that people get a glimpse of what you do in your free time. For example, I like to read. I'm passionate about reading, and I can portray that by creating a collage with all the interesting things. And I think this would be a lovely way to interact with the LinkedIn network that you have. People would instantly recognize one of these faces and say, ah, yeah, that's a Dan Brown, and he's the one who wrote all those fun fiction books. And then people could connect to that, or people could connect to Oscar Wilde, or maybe people know Malcolm Gladwell. So this is an interesting way to interact with your network using your gallery space. If you have a very useful or important post, you can also pin that post here So let's say, for example, this was a post, and this post of mine received a lot of good comments and all that, and I want to save this. So you can actually click on the three dots, and you can consider this as a featured post. What does it mean by featured post? Is you can pin this post to your profile so that it stays on top of your visibility for your network, and that's a way to showcase your best work. You can also do that for artwork, any hobbies that you pursue, any other noble causes that you contribute to or you volunteer. Moving on, your about section. Try to use your about section to your benefit. LinkedIn tends to give you a lot of space, like 800 words or so. So you might want to quickly use that space for the full benefit. And also your job. When you come into experience, you have all your experiences listed. So you have quite a lot of content that you can put here, separated, segregated with these interesting punctuation marks. What that does is it gives clarity on the industry that you are in, what kind of tools do you use, what kind of concepts or aspects or dimensionalities of your job. You can project all that, and what is your line of work and who do you report to. These are interesting things that you can portray. So try to make use of this, and various certifications that you have done during that period, you can pen it. Now moving on, you have your, after experience, you have your education, and of course you have to list out all your education. You make sure you attach any relevant files, so that those pictures and those files, the certificate per se, when you add it here, it gives them instant glimpse into what you are and what you do, and that's quite helpful as such. Moving on, you also can project your licenses or certifications. Let's say, for example, you have a PMP license or a certificate. You can project that here. You can also attach the link so that it becomes accessible for them to verify it online right there without any cross checking. You can also add some volunteering aspects. Wherever you have volunteered in your career, you would have volunteered in quite a few companies for CSR activities and others, or even otherwise, if you have contributed somewhere, you can add that. Moving on, you have skills. Skills is one of the most interesting aspects of LinkedIn, and it's becoming better now. And the reason why skills is the most important aspect here in LinkedIn is because, let's say, for example, I call myself a leader, right? And a lot of people claim that, right? We can make audacious claims about our own profile, saying, "Oh, I'm a thought leader. I'm a people leader. People love me." And we can make these big bragging statements. You can probably, a lot of people in on LinkedIn, you would see them putting headlines saying, "I'm a leader. I'm digital leader. I'm digital transformation change lead," things like that. Now, while we can proclaim that as a first person, uh, there should be some people who can attest that, who can endorse that, who can affirm that belief that yes, Prasanna Sai is indeed a leader. Now, how do you know whether he or she is a real good leader? Is by looking at the skills segment. Now, in the skills segment, let's say, for example, I am calling myself a good at training, right? So in order for me to substantiate this claim, I need to pin this skill called training, which is a skill that you develop over a period of time. You have to pin this skill with various jobs that you have worked in and various institutes where you have learned that skill, honed that skill. And a lot of people who know you in the field of training or seen you as a trainer should endorse that skill. So if I click on this, it would now showcase all the important people who endorse or attest my skill. So you can quickly go into your friend's profile who you're connected with, and remember, you can only endorse skills of people who you're connected with. If you're not connected with that person, you can't endorse their skills. So this shows that 85 people in my network believe that I'm good at training. So they have endorsed me. And of those 85 endorsements, Ritu Gaur is one of my friends who has endorsed my skill, and she seems to have already a high rating, and she seems to be an influencer in training. And so there are three other people in Ritu who have high rating in training who have endorsed my skills. Meaning, it's not just good enough to have a lot of numbers and beef up your profile, but in fact, you should have endorsements from people who are good at something. So, let's say, for example, if I endorse someone on aviation skills, or their flying skills, or uh, their skills in Portuguese without knowing Portuguese myself, then that endorsement will carry less value. It will still carry value, but it will carry less value as compared to another Portuguese speaker who attests or affirms or endorses that. So each skill has to have endorsements, and preferably by experts, and that has to be pinned with the courses, licenses, certifications, and education and experience. So now I know that training has been a skill of Prasanna Sai, and he actually worked in these companies and used these skills, applied these skills, the skills which he learned from these institutes and these certifications, and then these many people are attesting it. So it's not easily possible that I get 85 people to go into my profile and click on my skill and click that plus button to endorse that skill. So it's not quite easy for me to get 85 professionals to attest unless they would have seen me and want to endorse my skills, right? So that then becomes a credible factor for the employers, prospective employers, to observe my profile and say, oh, okay, he worked in so many companies, he did so many certifications and education, and so many people have endorsed that skill. Then now I can make a very data oriented decision on hiring this professional for training, and similar way for other skills as well. Now what that means is that if I just go into my profile about section and I brag about myself a ton of stuff, it's not going to fly unless I have my skills attested by someone else. So I'm good at design thinking, but what is the proof of it? Well, I have 80 endorsements on design thinking. But is that 80 enough? Can I be sure of hiring this person? Oh yeah, because he studied in Indian School of Business, and that's where he learned a little bit of that, and maybe IMA as well, and then some certifications, and then he applied those learnings in one or two companies where he would have worked on a few projects where design thinking came in handy. Now this becomes a credible aspect to ascertain my decision that I can hire this professional. So I have a bunch of skills here. By the way, LinkedIn gives you an option to update 50 skills, 50, but we don't use all of them. That's another problem. So make sure you use the full range of tools that and functionality that the tool renders to you in LinkedIn. Yeah, it's very important to use the whole range of skills. um, Now, another important aspect that I want to cover here is, unless you have all these skills corroborating, meaning confirming and cross verifying, cross referencing it, unless you have all these skills, which are 50, that demonstrate your strengths, and the people endorsing it, and your connected experiences and learnings with those skills, unless these things match with also your headline, your about section, your in job experience here, so the data that you write here and the data that you position there has to match. So I can't really be talking about, I don't know, diversity and inclusion over here while I haven't even completed an HR program. So if I'm an HR and I am also talking about diversity and ESG and all those aspects of HR, that's when the profile gets corroborated, as in all these repeated elements get picked up by the search engine. Now, here is where I want to spend a little bit of time on search engine content and talk to you about search engine. Now, have you ever imagined why the search engine would want to project your profile on top of the pile, or would the search engine would want to project you or your profile on top of the search list? And that happens only when, if you are spending good amount of time on LinkedIn and if you're regularly posting. So it's important for everyone to understand what's in it for LinkedIn. Why is LinkedIn helping you find a job? What does LinkedIn, how does LinkedIn profit from it, right? So let's say if I am on the if I am on the tool, on the portal, hanging out for 2 3 hours, and if I'm sharing posts on a regular basis, that's what LinkedIn wants. LinkedIn wants traffic. LinkedIn wants people. LinkedIn wants people who regularly visit the portal, not people who visit it once in a week, but people who regularly visit the portal. That's number one. Second, if you regularly post, comment, like, and if you engage with others, because it's a network after all, which means that the network expects you to network on it. So if you um, comment on others' posts and if you like the others' posts, if you help others and support others' posts as well, apart from in inducing your own content, creating your own content, which is also an excellent way of engaging and interacting, is by bringing in content from outside the platform into the platform. Let's say you watched a great video which was inspiring to you, you can actually bring that content from YouTube or from other tools and induce it into LinkedIn, which is a huge benefit. Or if you at least circulate the existing content, somebody got promoted, you appreciate them in a very positive, friendly manner, you share comments, and then you repost that or reshare that. These things are heavily appreciated by the search engine. Why? Because for the search engine to be efficient, it needs more traffic. And it kind of encourages people who spend time on it. So you want to help LinkedIn because you want LinkedIn to help you. Um, and that's how that works. It's a symbiotic relation. If you help LinkedIn, LinkedIn helps you. So the more often you are dwelling on the platform, hanging in there, checking posts, commenting, liking, sharing, and reposting, and you bringing in fresh content, writing your own perspectives, contributing to the network, that's when you become more and more important for LinkedIn. Otherwise, you're just one of the many users that uses it once in a week, and LinkedIn doesn't care about you, and your profile would just feature in maybe in the seventh page or fifth page, along with 70 other people who have the same name. So that's something that you need to work on in order to improve your profile in such a way that your headline, the aspects that you talk about, and using these hashtags are very powerful tools uh, to magnet all the content related to that. Let's say, for example, I use one hashtag, leadership. Now, even for the people who are not connected with me directly, if they are subscribed to this one particular hashtag, the content that I post with this hashtag will reach them. So it's for anyone to find these hashtags. Let's say I want to follow training and development, right? And one rule that these hashtags carry is there are no spaces, no special characters. So this is a hashtag, training and development. Let's say I go into training and development and I follow it, which I am already following. So if I follow it, what happens is, if I use this in my post will go crazy to all the 12,415 followers, regardless of whether they're connected with me or not. So it doesn't matter whether they're connected with me anymore, the post will automatically reach them and engage with them. So that's the benefit and feature of this hashtag. Now, moving on, you have to have all the features corroborating each other and supporting each other. Let's say, for example, my headline says I'm a great leader and I am a trainer, and my skills do not have leadership or training. Then you know what? There is no corroboration, there is no connection, there is no bonding. It's not cohesive. So the profile is not consistently talking about the same things. So you can't be looking at London and talking Tokyo, right? So your whole focus should be on the same set of things. You can't be adding an HR skill here and be talking about strategy all the time and posting about marketing all the time. Then what happens is your profile gets fragmented, your interests are diverse, your brand gets diluted. So you need to focus your energies on the same topics. So if you're talking about training, if you're talking about leadership, if you're talking about learning, then all your posts should be on the same page, on the same topics. You can't be talking suddenly about HR, and a few posts about aviation industry, few posts about FMCG industry. These will contradict your profile and fragment your brand value on LinkedIn. So the best way to enhance your brand value is to say the same thing in the headline, same thing here, and same thing in your about section, or at least in the similar lines, and the skills which are aligned to that function. So you can't be placing all your skills on digital marketing, and you're suddenly switched into another industry or another function which doesn't deal much with those skills. So that's when your profile is not consistent, it doesn't corroborate multiple times. So the search engine, which is LinkedIn, will try to check one, two, three, four. So there are 4 or 5 instances corroborating management. And so I'm going to check the skill level, the endorsement level, the about section, the headline, and the posts. So the posts also should be relevant. So please try to avoid every other Facebook type of posts which are um, entertaining and comical, and it's good to have a sense of humor, there's no doubt about it, but try to avoid the Facebook type of posts here, because this is typically not an entertainment space. This is a professional workspace, kind of a thing, where you kind of project your image in a calibrated manner. You don't just roll with your usual swag over LinkedIn. This happens to be a little more um, a place for decorum and composure and judgment, right? So you would want to put your best foot forward, make use of the featured space to portray your interests, your hobbies, write extensively in your about section, put your explain your job, what is the work that you do, what are the various skills and dimensions that you built in it, that you have worked on extensively. So if you're writing about HR, try to explain that in detail, which is organizational development, culture design, program management. Maybe you would have worked on employer branding, maybe you would have worked on other HR, organizational behavior, organizational change management. So all these need to be explained in detail. It doesn't do to just go fly superficially on this. Right? So delve deep into it, and then put up all your certificates. Again, certificates should be in line with it. Your endorsements, skills, and recommendations all should speak the same way. If you speak any foreign languages, do update that, and use the AI section, AI offering that they suggest. Maybe that can enhance your profile as well. And if you're using a premium tool, you also get to check who's checked your profile. So If I go into who checked my profile now, I can see which recruiters checked my profile and at what time they did it and things like that, and also how my posts are trending and other analytics. Um, I hope that this short conversation and demo helps you in enhancing your LinkedIn profile. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.